to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George. Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists. Today we continue Cinema Surprise's second season with Joseph's second pick of the second season. How about all that? How about all that information coming at you? And if you're just joining us for the first time, you have no idea what the fuck any of it means. We're talking about Blue Velvet. She wore Blue Velvet. It was released on September 19th, 1986 in a limited capacity here in the States. It was written and directed by David Lynch. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Like I said, your second pick of the second season here of Cinema Surprise. We've been digging in to Twin Peaks over on a show called Fire Pod with me, a Twin Peaks podcast. You're slowly falling in love with Lynch, and this is only now, as far as the listener knows, you have not seen Firewalk with me yet. As far as I know, you have. Yes. So this is your second Lynch film. How are you feeling about Blue Velvet?
Oh man, yeah, it's maybe all of the Peaks viewing that I've had has maybe tainted my mind a little bit of what to expect, or not maybe what to expect, but where my brain goes for seeing certain things from Lynch. But this was, in a weird way, a lot more of a literal movie for him.
Yeah.
And just a lot
narratively,
less, yes, a lot less paranormal, a lot less mystical stuff going on. But no, his same mannerisms are still there though. So
the flair,
I mean,
the flair is definitely Lynchian.
Oh yeah.
This was my fourth viewing of Blue Velvet, I believe. And I adore the movie. I think it is kind of Lynch's sensibilities all gift wrapped just for us. Dark and demented and, erotic and disgusting and hopeful and optimistic somehow. It's probably also his most naive picture, which is really interesting. As far as, I don't view what the movie has to say so literally as some people. Like, I read a few reviews from like Letterboxd Mutuals last night. A lot of people who I really respect and I love their opinions on movies and stuff. And I was intrigued to find that like most of my Letterboxd Mutuals are like 5 stars, baby. Yeah. And then, you'll find the random ones like 3, 3.5. I'm like, okay, well, I got to know what you thought. I got to know why that happened for you. And one of them made a really good point, a decent point anyway, that while I don't entirely agree with it, I 100% see where they're coming from, about a certain naivete from Lynch as far as this aesthetic he establishes of the vague 50s inspired, era with all the vehicles and the town that they're in and everything there, versus the modernity of the sexual deviancy and everything. Like, he almost tries to say that the way that love will, be enough and win it out for us is by like kind of returning to a simpler time, which, this person said is not true. It's a pushing forward. It's an evolution we haven't seen yet, which I was like, that's a very, very interesting take, and one that I 100% understand, if not entirely agree with. I don't take it quite so literally, like that is exactly what he's saying. I think it's just an aesthetic that matches the feeling he's trying to capture, Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I guess I wasn't even really thinking of the decade or really time period while watching this. And it feels that even Peaks, it has its, there is an era that it's coming out of, but it feels that time doesn't really quite seem to matter anyways. It's just the themes that are going on within the movie. It's like they're timeless themes. These are things that are happening over and over and over. Like, it is coming from the Phoenician scheme and going here a complete 180 in visual just language and and what we have. So, but two directors that aren't afraid to just do whatever they feel is what is going to make the story tell better. And like I love that we still have a lady getting on top of a car and dancing while, Mike's giving the beat down on Jeffrey, or not Mike,
Frank.
Freaking Frank. Yes, Frank, bad guy. I thought I would maybe slip Bob, not Mike, in his place, but there we go. But
there is also a Mike in this movie.
That's true.
Yes,
the boyfriend.
The boyfriend, yeah.
Football, almost Bobby. That would have been funny if that was Bobby,
right?
The quarterback.
There's also Mike in Twin Peaks, the wrestler and football player with Bobby.
Yeah.
So like there's a little bit of
this is true.
There's a little bit of a connection there.
Laura Dern,
Laura Dern, yeah.
We have
Lumberton,
Kyle MacLachlan.
A town that's main export is wood.
And every time we went to the diner, we saw a bunch of logs just being exported.
Arlene's Diner. You have the Roadhouse in the Slow Club. Lots of connections to Twin Peaks. Definitely the spiritual predecessor to that series at large. And somehow more toned down. I think that show this at your family movie night. Let's get real weird.
Wow. Yeah, that would be nice. Another alone viewing. I feel like is like to see this in a theater with people would be just crazy. But I don't know. It is what art is for. It's so that you can go to these extremes and not have these events actually take place. Even though they do, maybe not in this exact order or way we see them.
Right. It's there's a fictional telling of. Yeah.
There's some weird motherfuckers out there.
There are Frank Booths. Yeah, that's real shit. And I love Dennis Hopper in this movie as Frank Booth. I think that Dennis Hopper is just an unbelievably talented actor with a really, really fascinating story as far as his career trajectory went. Obviously a very, very big deal in the 60s and 70s, but had massive drug and alcohol issues that made him a liability and belligerent on set and everything. And he'd just gotten out of rehab before this movie, and nobody was going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. And David Lynch and him kind of like he clicked with the material because he was like, I think this is, a really good opportunity to show that I'm capable of acting like this without being like this anymore.
Yeah.
And this is and it's something that he whenever he told his agency, I'm going to do Blue Velvet, they were like, you should not do Blue Velvet. They were like, that is actually the exact opposite of what your reputation needs right now is to be Frank Booth. And it did exactly what he wanted it to. It reinvigorated his career, and it gave us, a series of performances from a legendary actor at a later point in his career, which I absolutely appreciate.
Wow. Yeah. Don't do Blue Velvet. Stay away from David Lynch.
Right.
That's kind of funny. And I feel like we come off Wes, and it's like you only hear great things of working with Wes. Every actor is like, please give me the call, to be on set. And maybe once you've worked with Lynch, then you understand, and then you're like, oh, okay, no, I get your ways, because we got Kyle MacLachlan sticking around. We do have Jack Nance sticking around. He's very small role here, but he does stick around. I guess
David Lynch's collaborators pretty notoriously love him. One of the most interesting things about David Lynch that I always love hearing from everybody, really, like I watched a little bit of a behind the scenes doc of Blue Velvet before we got on the microphone here, and some of it was stories I'd heard before because it's just interviews with the cast and crew, and once you've dug into this in any capacity, you start hearing the same stuff over and over. It's just how things work. But when Kyle MacLachlan met David Lynch for Dune, he was fresh off of his lunch at Bob's Big Boy, which was a daily ritual for Lynch at the time, and he said, I didn't know what to expect, like, I'd obviously heard of David Lynch. He was a pretty big deal. He'd been nominated for an Oscar come that point for Elephant Man, and he'd made Eraserhead, which was a massive, massive cult classic immediately. And, so I watched Eraserhead before I met him, thinking that would illuminate anything for me, and it absolutely did not help. And then when I met the guy, I thought I was going to meet this dark, brooding, scary man, and he was just the most bubbly, sweet guy I'd ever met in my life. And like everything about him, as far as his creative sensibility, puzzled the people he came into contact with, because they were like, how are you thinking of shit like this? How is that what's happening inside your head? Which is, I think that's a very lovely way to carry yourself as a creative, to like to have such a dark and twisted sensibility, but still be so loving. And, there were times, I mean, like he was an artist who wanted to do things his way, obviously. So, I mean, like you, no matter what, you're going to be a little difficult to work with at points, that's how creative visionary works, but, by all accounts, everybody who worked with him was usually like, oh, I fucking love that guy. I'd do anything for David Lynch.
Yeah, that's how I'm coming around as well. I'm in the process of it. I've gotten just a TV show, partially of a TV show, and 2 movies. But this is, I know I'm definitely not stopping anytime soon, because I mean this his language, or his the eeriness, the Lynchian air. I love that you is it, do we just call it the Lynchian feeling of, or is that a wider
that is a term.
That's
that
awesome.
It was one of the things I wrote in my kind of eulogy of sorts for David Lynch on my Letterboxd. The day he passed, I watched the documentary about his life, David Lynch, The Art Life, for the first time. And which I do own physically. It's a documentary in the Criterion Collection. It's probably the only documentary I own from the Criterion Collection. But I'll go find it and read it to you word for word, because I really liked the way I put it, which sounds full of myself, but whatever. I said I could have, January 16th, 2025, which was the day he passed. I said, I could have watched one of his movies today, and probably still will, but I had this on my shelf unwatched. And while he once famously said that the films speak for themselves, I wanted to hear that beautiful air horn of a voice. I wanted to see that face, wrinkled by years of trial and tribulations and cigarettes. I wanted to see that hair which speaks for itself. David Lynch is amongst the most inspiring directors whose films I've had the pleasure of viewing. His work has meant so much to me in these last few years, and the reason above all else is that it is so singular. Lynch does not have peers. Not in the way that Scorsese does not have peers, not in the way Spielberg does not have peers. You can replicate them. No, not as good, not by any means, but you can replicate them and get away with it. Not Lynch, though. If you do Lynch, you become Lynchian. Inescapable is the legacy of a man whose style was so visceral, whose vibe was so tangible yet undefined, that it got its own word. Like it is entirely its own thing. Eerie doesn't encompass it. That's not all it is. Like there's something else there, and I love that it's become Lynchian, and that gets thrown out a lot about things that are just eerie, are just kind of like, ooh, what's around the corner, but that's just suspenseful. It's just eerie. There's something like I said, intangible. You can't even quite define it. You just, it when you feel it.
That's so cool.
I love
that. He'll live on. He'll live on. His movies and stuff, I don't think will ever go away. We got the Criterion Collection taking, I feel like, a liking to him. But I think the Lynchian stuff as well, that's like bigger than movies. That's I feel, and Wes, as I feel like this. I'm very, very happy with the directors we've covered so far. They're all in my top 4. There's only one more missing, I guess, that we haven't quite hit. But he, I don't know. He feels like the outlier of the group, the one I'm missing, which is Nolan, I guess. He's in my top 4, but I don't know. Maybe it's that he hasn't had the career that quite the other three have had. But Lynch is already like above Nolan for me, which is a weird.
Wild
it's more
considering
of
you've only watched 2 of his movies.
Yes, and Interstellar is one of Nolan's, and like so, but like the Lynch. I think it's more of the way he makes his movies. Like Nolan is more technically impressive, and just I love the movies that he like the
scale is
matter.
enormous, and it's different. It's definitely different, and
I don't know. But Lynch has this whole different take to it. It feels a little more like art, where Nolan feels like he's making just kind of like the
spectacle.
Yes, like he indistinguishable from reality. I feel like his goal is kind of like I want to make a movie, but I kind of want to make you feel like it is as real as possibly could be, and
like you could be watching the news.
But Lynch is no.
Yeah,
you are not watching the news. That's
it's surreal. No. You know, it's this specifically encompasses a certain American surrealism that I really enjoy. I think that Blue Velvet, it gets at the heart of kind of this sinister idea that's like you never know what's happening inside someone's house. This takes place in a suburb. It takes place in a suburbia. In North, I take it was filmed in North Carolina. It feels like it's that region anyway. Virginia, Maryland, like kind of over on the east a little bit. I don't know why, but it could very easily be Midwestern if you wanted it to be. It's got this vague every townness to it, and I think that's 100% purposeful. They do a really good job of there's something sinister lying beneath the surface at all points. And you never know where it might rear its ugly head. And I think that that's something that Lynch always did an unbelievably good job at. And it's something that, this is one of Lynch's only happy endings.
Wow.
Which is why I do think that calling it naive isn't exactly a bad take, because the older he got, the more cynical his endings got. Which is why I'm like, there is a relative, there's truth to that, I think, in some capacity. And, everything's open for interpretation. I don't think that all of his movies have straight up unhappy endings. They just also don't have, everyone who you cared about in the movie makes it out alive, the villain died, and everyone is happy at the end. That's not... Movies movies of his don't usually end like that. There is one exception after this that is also pre-Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. That really, really sticks the landing as far as just being like, that was the best way to end this.
I feel like his happy ending is actually making the worst possible thing happen in the movie, and then you come to accept it. It's like you come to accept that darkness is in the world, but any amount of happiness or good, is the win,
protest.
Or it is the good ending. Yeah. So it's, I feel like that's at least what I get more from him is like whenever it's just all the evil that's all around, and then you have just Agent Coop making his quips or whatever. He's still just as happy as could be or whatever. And it's like it is like naive a little bit, but at the same time it's like in order to kind of live like that, you have to be a little bit naive. Like you or like on purpose. Like it is like I understand that
you're
real bad.
Choosing positivity. Yeah. I think that's I think that's 100% the case as far as clearly with Lynch. He had the darkest, most fucked up shit in his head, clearly, and everyone was he was so sweet, he was so nice, I love him. That's something that's choosing to be away, not just being away because you know what was going on up there. As far as what his creative capacity, contained. But and I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say at least it was really nice to have the good, and not to call Dorothy bad or she wasn't bad. She was just the other side of the coin of showing the life of the world. So it was nice to have Sandy and Dorothy to kind of just go back and forth, and to even have Jeffrey like be pulled between both of them, you know, and like have true feelings for both of them, but then be like, well, shit. He's like, well, now he's like, I didn't have anyone before, and now I got freaking two at the same. You know, it's like, but it's both. I don't know. It was a really just, and not even Dorothy. It felt like it was more just like, well, we went through this experience together, and I was spying on you. Oopsies. But then you did force me to strip, and then we also almost had a moment, and then you got raped in front of me, and then now so it's like, yeah, a whole lot happened with Dorothy.
No, there's a lot, and I think that there's, when it comes to Jeffrey's infatuation with Dorothy, I think there's an element of, you know, a savior complex. He wants to be the one who's able to, you know, whisk her away. But I think that there's also this kind of baser, lesser instinct in him that, like, he might be able to get away with shit because she's been through shit. You know, like, he lets himself get swept away in it to a point where he almost tests the bounds of what he's capable of through her. Which is also unethical. You know, like that is not and I love the way that they depict Jeffrey in a very morally gray light. You know, you can tell he wants to be good. You can tell that, like, he's like at most turns he wants to do what's best, and ultimately regrets and hates himself for when he chooses otherwise. But he did choose otherwise. And he, you know, like, he always had the option. Nobody, you know, except for whenever she was holding him at knife point and stuff, like, that's different. But
yeah, but no, he hit her. He hit her not once.
Yeah, he hit her
twice, and it was, you know, and hey, some people, you know, the playful hitting, that is a thing that's out there. But I think this
there are kinks. This is a little different. Especially when you
hit by Frank, and that's what she was. It was because of Frank, and
and because she wants to be her, like, she wants to die. Yeah, he's not wrong about that. You know, like, I think she wants to die. He says at one point.
She wants to feel anything. You know, I think it's just to feel anything at all. Yeah, the situation is pretty rough. Her husband and child are just kidnapped and in a back room. Not even in just Ben's apartment, or was that Frank's apartment? And Ben just happens
that was Ben's.
To just hang there. Yeah, Ben. You know, these just, I don't know. These characters were
wild slate.
Yeah, I don't know who Ben reminded me of.
PABST Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, you fuck. He loved
you
the
fuckers, fucker.
Fuck. Yeah, you fucker. We're gonna all fuck, or let's fuck. Yeah, he loved.
Let's fuck. I'll fuck anything that moves.
Yeah, that walk. Yeah, and even when Ben was giving his his little performance there, you know, lip sync show to everybody.
Yeah,
it's like Frank was like, he was like getting a little. He was like, "Oh God, I'm about to let it out," and he goes, "Nope, I can't." He's like, "I can't." It's like no gay shit. But then, you know, I thought it was like he was limiting the gay thoughts of, like, you know, going just crazy over Ben. But then he was like, "I'll fuck anything that walks." And then I'm like, "Well, you're sending me mixed messages, Frank. I don't know what you want or what's going on up there." But I think that's I know he is quite just the evil. Straight into, I don't know, pretty much Bob, I feel like.
Yeah, no,
without the mystical nature.
Well, and that's why I'm like, this is, whenever it comes to, you know, oh, is Bob real and stuff, like, this is one of those things where it's like, well, you should watch Blue Velvet then. You know, like, what you're looking for is in a different movie. Or a different, you're looking for Frank Booth, which is fair. And I mean, like, not to say that there's no connection between the two, there obviously is. And I think that when it comes to allegorically what Bob represents, it is a character like Frank Booth. And a person like Frank Booth. I think that there's a lot of, I mean, it's just evil. It's just bad, and there's no redeeming qualities about him. I love that I do love the softness they depict him with in one moment whenever he's watching her perform.
Yes.
I do like that they depict him as, like, there's a lens you can watch this film through where he has an unrequited love for Dorothy. That's not like he's almost hopelessly romantic for her. And just in the most fucked up way possible. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, and Frank's just misunderstood. No, we understand Frank perfectly. Yes. He's fucking awful. He's the absolute worst. Mm-hmm. I just think that there's an interesting way to watch the film where he doesn't know what he's doing is bad. Now, don't get me wrong. It is, and that doesn't make it excusable. I'm not trying to justify Frank's actions. I'm just saying it'd be an interesting way to watch the movie.
Maybe it just goes to show that even the most evil fuck, the most absolute worst of the worst, our base instinct at the end of the day is just to have someone that we can hold and love and have a good time with, you know. That's like and that's like what he's doing. He's such a psychopath that he can't get that in his normal day-to-day, so he has to kidnap a husband and child, put them in a room, and force a woman to try to do this to him. So it's like so in the most evil way, he's trying to do what the, you know, good route is. He's trying
to get love and affection, and like that's, you know, there's obviously better ways to do it. There's obviously moral ways to go about it, and none of them are stuff he does.
Jeffrey definitely, like, I expected, you know, Kyle MacLachlan to kind of be the romantic, you know, just he says every right thing that you want him to say, but I feel like more times than not, I'm like, dude, that's what you fucking say, or like you're like.
There's a lot of because I think the two warring halves of him when it comes to like the virginal. Innocence of Sandy versus the soiled innocence of Dorothy. He's got a little bit of a, you know, he's fascinated by both, and he's kind of trying to decide what he wants throughout. So whenever she goes, Sandy in the car is like, I can't tell if you're a pervert or a detective. It's kind of the quintessential line of the movie, because he goes, that's for me to know and you to find out. He doesn't fucking know, dog. He doesn't know. He has no fucking clue. It's for him to find out also. And he finds out he's both. There's the voyeurism in this movie is really fascinating. I think that there's even an interesting angle to the voyeurism when it comes to Sandy. Like, she's also a spy. She's also a sleuth, you know. Her bedroom's right above her father's office, so she listens in and she hears things, and she knows what's going on. And
like, I made you do this. I got you into this. But then she was kind of like, ooh, I like this. She's like, she left her other boyfriend completely. Mike was just, okay, nope, gone. Like, this is way better. And it's so, it's like this whole, even Laura, like, manipulated in air quotes, you know, or however, but like corrupting people, like it kind of it feels like that kind of tracks. It's like all these early goings of the
very early goings of themes that were explored in different capacities in Twin Peaks, to be sure. I think what's really interesting too is to draw a line in the sand between Sandy and Jeffrey. Is Sandy eventually comes to a line that she won't cross. You know, she's like, nope. That's it. I'm sorry. I can't have anything to do with this. And he's like, okay, that's fine. You know, you do you. I got to keep going with this. I've got to pursue it. I really love the dichotomy between those two characters whenever that line is breached. I love the end of this movie. And I mean, like, the last act, really, whenever Dorothy shows up, naked at Jeffrey's house. Mike being like, oh, is that your mom? And then Jeffrey's like, I need you to chill out. Give me a second. Come on. Let's go. Up, and Mike. I love that in that moment, Mike's like, oh, shit.
Oh, damn. He's like, oh, shit.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize this is much more real than anything I came here for. My bad.
He's like, I don't even know what is going on.
His friends being like, I thought you were going to kick his ass. He's like, dude, I can't kick his ass. Do you see what's going on right now?
He's like,
I fucking love that Mike ends up being like just kind of a decent guy who, you know, like, there's nothing really bad about Mike. He's just a kid, you know? And I love that, I love that whole sequence. I love whenever they make it back to Sandy's house and, you know, her mom comes into the room, and the way that everyone treats Dorothy with such empathy is actually really, really refreshing. This actually is founded from a story. This specific scenario is founded from a story David Lynch has told on several occasions that when he was a young boy, and he was out late with his brother, he tells the stories like, back in my day, we used to, go out, we just ride our bikes for hours and hours and hours, and it'd be the, who knows, da 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 da.
Okay.
Who knows how late it was. And he says that one day they were sitting on a curbside, and a naked woman emerged from the dark,
Wait,
kind
in
of
real life.
yeah,
This
kind of
happened to him.
like with like a bloody mouth and nose. And
shit.
he didn't know, like, he knew that something was wrong, but he was also like 8, and there's nothing he could do about, like, he was like, so,
oh man.
So he tells the story like, I've always carried that with me. It's always been a very interesting moment from my life that I still have no idea what happened to that woman. I have no idea what happened after that, or where she came from, or anything. But
yeah.
he was like, I'll never forget the image, and I've implemented it in, a few things now, and this is one. This is the most obvious of them as far as the direct line of influence between them. But
wow, man, that's. I mean, yeah. Even if you are 8 years old, if you see a naked woman with blood, even if you don't understand, maybe, she was most likely sexually assaulted, and something bad has happened.
No, yeah,
you might not have put those together, but to know, I don't know, something is off.
That's why I love the memoir Room to Dream. I've brought that up a few times on the Twin Peaks podcast, but just his memoir where he goes back and forth with a chronicler of his life. Like, he tells a chapter, she tells a chapter, like, more factually, and like, he grew up in here, and these are the people he was with, and this is what happened, and da 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 da. And then it goes to him, and he's like, so here's the fucking deal. And he basically just goes on and on about what he did, rambles on. He's just talking, freewheeling. And just hearing him tell stories like that, where you can tell he's so thoughtful about, or so deep in thought that he might as well be there in that moment. It's a really, it's really personal. And one of the things that I loved in the behind the scenes documentary is that Isabella Rossellini is the one who tells the story. She relays it. She was like, so David told me this. And she says like, and it wasn't like, ooh, naked woman, that's, ooh, sexy, like she says, him and his brother, they just cried, like they didn't know what to do. And it wasn't scary. It wasn't like they were frightened of her. They just knew it was sad, like they didn't, and they didn't understand why. Help.
Like they knew something was wrong, but they can't do anything about it. And I feel like that's like maybe Jeffrey's kind of internal battle, or like where it's savior complex, or just naive wanting to do good, whether it's like actually you wanting to be that savior, or if you're just kind of like, well, man, this shit is bad and I just don't want it to happen. And but then he just happens to come into like his life is intertwined with Dorothy, so he happens to like want to help her. But I feel like if it's any other, it doesn't matter who it is. I feel like it might have helped that he had some lustful feelings, or some actual.
Oh, certainly but I do think that there is. I think it's really fascinating the way things like kind of crystallize for him in those moments, though. Like whenever they are back at Sandy's place, and Sandy's like crying because she realizes they're, he put his disease in me, all that stuff. And the way Kyle MacLachlan looks at Laura Dern is like, I'll explain. I actually, more now than ever, do I know exactly how to talk my way out of this a little bit. He's like, and
it doesn't look good. It doesn't.
Yeah, he's like, but
the optics don't look good. Yeah,
I've got my reasons, and you will understand them, and she does. And I think that's I just really appreciate how empathetic everyone is for Dorothy in that moment specifically, because it's one of the things that like Laura Palmer doesn't get, and I think that it was something that Emily, she really enjoys watching movies and stuff with me, and she liked Twin Peaks a lot. She liked Fire Walk with me a lot. But it's very taxing, like not just because of how surreal David Lynch can tell stories, but because of the compromising position he often depicts women in, she walked in about halfway through Blue Velvet, maybe 3/4 of the way through, because I watched it while she was still at work, and then she got home and stuff. So regardless, I was explaining the plot to her. I was catching her up, and she goes, "What's David Lynch's deal with, depicting women, getting sexually assaulted and, being harmed and dying?" And I explained to her, I was like, well, this one does actually have a happy ending, if that helps. A, B, Lynch always depicts it as tragedy. He's never depicting it in a way that's just like and she was sexually assaulted, and that's that. It's never the good guy, that's do it. Like it's he always sees it as the tragedy that it is, and I think that does that eliminate him from criticism? No. Yeah, everyone can have their perspective on it. I'm just explaining why I think that he always treated it with the utmost respect and care. At least that was the intention behind it. Maybe there are ways to depict it more kindly, certainly, but it's also sexual assault. There's no kindness about it. Act. Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's a complicated line, especially when you are going to depict it in film at all. Like one of the examples I always go to when it comes to this being sexual assault captured on film is The Sopranos. The Dr. Melfi episode, Employee of the Month. That is the most visceral, disgusting depiction of sexual assault I've ever seen in my life. And I don't mean that in a way that's like, they shouldn't have done it. There's argument to be had there, to be sure. I mean, I can't watch that. If when that episode comes up, I'm skipping that part of the episode. Like, it's that devastating to watch. And it's that terribly performed, and I mean that in a good way. Like, the way Lorraine Bracco performs that moment is fucking devastating. Yeah.
It's supposed to be rough. Like, it is.
Oh, it's supposed to be terrible. It's supposed to be a nightmare.
Comfortable.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, there is, whenever it comes to, Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, a lot of discourse surrounding, the depictions of sexual assault and moments like that. There is a gratuity or a gratuitiveness at points that you're like, you probably didn't need to do all that. And that's why I'm like, it's such a fine line to walk as far as depicting it with respect and care to victims of sexual assault. And I think that David Lynch manages to do that pretty consistently whenever he does tackle this as some sort of subject matter,
I think it's always interesting that murder, all crime is bad, but like murder is
not
final.
As bad as sexual assault.
Like but like it's still just a top tier crime. I would say. We're in the top tier of crime, and murder. We see that in movies all the time. Like we like. And it breaks us down, and it's sad, and we kind of want it in movies a little. You kind of want to see someone go through that experience because you don't want it to happen in real life, and you'd rather get all the emotional experience out of it that you can inside the movie.
Well, and it's also as a dramatic device, it's much more. It's an interesting dramatic device. When it comes to murder in real life, it's they say it's like 90% of the time it's someone killed somebody, killed somebody that somebody killed somebody, and it's because they knew them or they were family or they were friends, something like that. Like it's rarely ever, this random person just shot this random person. And there's a lot of interesting, compelling stories to tell about that fictionally. I think. Whereas sexual assault is just...
I think I'd rather it be handled like Lynch to show it as the brutal nature that it truly is. And because, I mean, for as long as humans have existed, this has been the story, it's not like this is a new thing. This is, we're all modern and we think we're so advanced, but we are still doing the same thing that we've done for however long we've been around. And we like to think that we're more civilized, and I think, but to show the true nature of this came out in 86, but it's 2025. There are Franks everywhere. So it's like, I think it is, if there are the space for the movies where there are the happy endings and you want to go into a movie theater and feel good to come out of it. But it's kind of like if you turn a blind eye to it for too long or don't, if no one highlights it, at all and shows the problem that exists, then it's like, not that people will forget about it or not pay attention, but I don't know. I think this at least makes people remember, or it is in front brain, like, oh yeah, dang, we still do this, and it's shitty. Like, I think that everyone knows that if you're of moral, if you have a brain on you, you're there. Yeah. But like, if you're watching Wall-E or The Incredibles, you're not thinking that whatsoever. That's not crossing your mind at all.
Right.
But it's like so I think, it is weird, maybe Lynch, he dives into it a lot, but maybe it's just an important, he saw this woman at 8 years old and he couldn't help it, but now he can make movies that show the struggles and fight that women go through all the time. And he doesn't have to actually tell a real victim story,
right.
or to put a real person on a spotlight. It's more just the themes. And so, I mean, I think it's like it is rough, and it doesn't make for comfortable viewings,
No,
sure.
Certainly not. And what I ultimately think is really important about it is that, like, he depicts it as the utmost evil a human can do, basically.
That's true. Like, it is worse than murder. Yeah,
it is the worst. It is the worst thing a man can do. Anybody can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when he depicts it as such, it comes off that way. It comes off as the worst thing a person can do. And I think it's very, very effective. One of the and that scene I think it's wild how funny the movie is at different points, like at Ben's place, whenever he's like, give me that beer, better be fucking cold. If there's one thing I fucking hate, it's a warm fucking beer. And the guy's like, I got cold beer right here, man. And he's like fuck yeah, all right. I think it's wild that sometimes Lynch tells stories that are so out there that the only way to get through some of the cruelty is to laugh a little bit, and not being sure whether or not you should. It's a really wonderful line he toes that I think he always manages to gracefully dance back and forth upon. One of the other behind the scenes stories that is just bizarre is that, during that scene when Isabella, the ritualistic sexual assault of Dorothy, whenever Frank comes back and, Jeffrey, I almost called him Coop, is watching from the closet. David Lynch, and the way that, Isabella Rossellini described it was like, I think he was just coping. He couldn't stop laughing.
Frank?
He couldn't stop. Yeah. No, David Lynch.
Like
David
during
Lynch,
the filming?
During the filming, he couldn't, he was trying his best to get through it in a way, and he thought it's a lot of Dennis Hopper's performance is funny.
It is funny as shit, actually. If you take away all the music in the moment of the movie.
Oh yeah, if you take away every single implication, if you completely remove, if you completely pull yourself out of what's occurring on the set of a film where this isn't real and this isn't happening, him going, baby wants to fuck would be kind of funny,
And then even the way he just bunny humps her, all their clothes are, I guess she's I guess only has the blue velvet robe on, but he's like fully clothed, I guess, still, and like, so, but it was just like, yeah, I could see how it is actually everything removed.
That's why I'm like, you got to completely remove yourself from being immersed in the movie for sure. But like mommy.
Yes,
mommy.
Wow.
Like it's a wild and funny thing to watch a fully grown man in his 50s, maybe 60s, saying shit like this.
Wow, and just Jeffrey being in the fucking closet, like, like to see this go down, and then to be like, I mean, should I get like help? Like I feel like, like, what is he thinking in his head? He's like, I mean, oh my god, like this is what a night for Jeffrey to go through.
And I think it's interesting to think about, like, one of the things you never consider, because Frank is a loose cannon. Why does Jeffrey not do anything?
Mm-hmm.
That's
afraid of just him dying or her dying as well, or like him taking it up a level, or just kind of. But yeah, it is like he had I don't know, he would have had the surprise on, like
like there's an element where it's like and I got to imagine that Jeffrey carries that with him throughout this movie as well, like to not just experience something like that, but to witness something like that, and to know you didn't do anything regardless of the consequences of your actions, like oh well, if I had done something, she could have died, I could have died, whatever, you do still have to live with regardless that you didn't do anything. And you can justify that however you want, but there is also the fact that you go, well, I did just watch it from the closet. I didn't do a fucking thing about it.
Yes. Not like I didn't do anything about, something that's happening in a different country. Not you were in the room.
I didn't do something about a global country war conflict. Like, that's, you can do all you can, but even that, no, this person is being assaulted right in front of you. Yeah. You do have the means to do something about it, that's why I think that's why he dives so deep into it. I think that he never actually, tells Sandy, I watched him rape her, he never is like, I saw that is exactly what he just goes, this man, he's a dangerous man. I think that he kidnapped her and is having her do things for him because, like, and he never actually says, I witnessed him sexually assault her. He never says it in those terms. And I think he does that in a capacity to deflect himself a little bit, like kind of be like, I don't want to be interrogated about why I didn't do anything, but also that's why I'm still doing this. She keeps being like, why, why are you still doing this? And at a point, there comes a point when that's a very valid question, you've got evidence now. Like, you can go to the police. And it eventually does reach that point where he's like, oh, goddamn, I gotta go to the fucking police. I've got enough evidence.
I got beat within an inch of my life.
And it's not like, for a while there, it is the savior complex. Don't get me wrong. He wants to be the hero. He wants to help. But I do think a lot of guilt is driving him there also. Like, a guilt for the man he sees himself becoming if he continues down this path, and like, almost like he can alleviate himself of that guilt if he continues doing this. And I think that's a interesting, really complicated story to tell, and one that they tell fucking wonderfully.
Yeah. And it's the good old, I think, question of, just because you wear a badge or you're a cop, does it give you more of a right to help someone? What he's doing, breaking into an apartment and spying, not the way to go about it. But, like, I think the police aren't, they are never going to be as invested as Jeffrey is in the case, So it's like, if it'd be in an ideal world, you just have everyone has some personal, someone else out there that's going to help and be there, and not a cop, not just because they put on the badge to,
they get paid
sort
to
of thing.
Yeah.
But so it's like, and this is a weird,
you, by the way, tax dollars. They get paid by you.
Yes.
Like,
that's. So But Dorothy, Jeffrey and Dorothy is it's like she has no one at all. The only person, people she had are kidnapped and gone. So it's like it does take this weird, perv, at first to be there, and this weird whatever he's figuring it out. But if he wasn't there, what does happen? Does she?
Yeah.
I don't know, who knows? I guess what could have happened. So, and he was, without him, I guess he could have presented the evidence earlier for sure, but he definitely led to, I don't know, just her getting her child back. I guess, husband got the bullet through the head, but I mean I guess that's the last show. I mean, is that the actual final? Because we see Jeffrey, we see at his house, and then we cut to Dorothy and her kid, right? And is that the
and then we get we get a reverse of the montage from the beginning. We see the fire truck, right. And then we see the flowers blooming, and then we pan up to the sky instead of panning down,
like a return. Like these events all happened, but the days just continue on like they will,
it's still a normal, it's still a normal suburb. Dang. It's still a normal place. And I think that's it's a great touch at the end of this movie. I think that, and I mean, it's beautiful to look at. I think that, Frederick Elms, the cinematographer, and, David Lynch are kind of a match made in heaven. Eraserhead, Dune, this, Wild at Heart, just unbelievably good looking movies. And this was, I love, again, as far as the visual sensibility, definitely the precursor to Peaks. Definitely the precursor, even more specifically, to Fire Walk With Me. The shots of Isabella Rossellini performing on stage. And the red curtain behind her and the blue light glowing. Yes. It's exactly the way that they shoot Julie Cruz in The Roadhouse. Not exactly. She is actually nothing but blue usually whenever they show her, but
yes,
they actually do include a Julie Cruz song in this movie. Mysteries of Love plays towards the end whenever Laura Dern and Kyle MacLachlan are dancing together, and she is the artist that they prominently feature in The Roadhouse in the first episode of Peaks and in Fire Walk With Me.
That's awesome.
So clear that David Lynch has a great deal of love for Julie Cruz and her music, and why would you not? Very, very ethereal sounding music. Speaking of, Angelo Badalamenti fucking bodies this score. This is the first of their collaborations, and he is the exclusive composer and producer for David Lynch's music from here on in. They worked on everything together, including music that had nothing to do with movies. Just music they made together, which is very, very cool.
And even the insert, like, was that an Elvis song or the one, or whatever Ben performed?
That's In Dreams by Roy Orbison, and the song that the movie title is based off is Blue Velvet by Bobby Vinton.
That I liked the one bit, like the second, like, you can hear a song one way, but then if you say it all evilly and fucking creepy,
it's a nightmare.
It's like, oh shit, it's like, oh fuck, like, I want you in my dreams forever, you and me forever.
And again, thematically, as far as Peaks is concerned, they're like, what if we took that scene and then we made that real?
I mean, To the Max is they turn this movie and just
we live inside a dream.
That's why my brain was, I was going. That is why, after having Peaks and then going into this, I was every little thing.
There are a lot of movies of Lynch's catalog that you can do that with. Eraserhead is definitely one of them. That is a fantasy movie by every stretch. There's hardly anything comprehensible occurring where you'll be able to go, well, obviously this is happening. So you got that, but like Elephant Man, Dune, of course, this, and to an extent, Wild at Heart. Wild at Heart plays with some fantasy elements, but then Straight Story is the most straight story he's ever told. Like, it's called The Straight Story, and it's about a gentleman named Straight, so it's about him. It's his last name. But it also doubles down as being the most straightforward story he's ever told. Definitely one where when you watch it, you'll go, this is a David Lynch movie, huh? But beyond that, when it comes to, again, a little bit of Wild at Heart, but Eraserhead, Fire Walk with Me, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and Inland Empire, those ones you'll be able to go, okay, let me cook. Let my brain run fucking wild and figure out what the fuck is happening here. Beyond those, it's about 50-50 split as far as what movies he made where things were relatively straightforward and things were, I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
I think that is what the fuck's going on here. That is Lynch's goal. That is one of his goals for, I don't know, to make you think at least a couple times. That's you gotta get there. And
I love it. I love that he never one of my favorite quotes of his is about Eraserhead. He was on a late night show. I think it was Letterman, and they talk about Eraserhead, and he goes, Eraserhead is actually probably my most spiritual film. And Letterman goes, elaborate on that. And he goes, no.
No. Just
he's
no.
Just no. No, I won't. I won't be doing that. Which is fucking hysterical. Yeah, exactly. I will say what I want to say about the movie. Beyond that, you got to do the work. And I think that's a fucking awesome way to approach your art. You know what it means. It means something to you. Even Kyle MacLachlan, to a point, whenever he works like a lot of people who work with Lynch are like, obviously I know a little bit more than the audience, but I don't know that much more than the audience. I'm just performing it, and that's it. Oh
my God. Bro's he is truly biblical. He just, it's all coming to him from dreams, I think that's what maybe he's trying to tell us, is that he's just...
Yeah, this story occurred to him as, it came to him as it started with 3 ideas. And he just kind of put together the pieces from there. It started, I can't remember what order, but Blue Velvet, the song, he was like, I like that song. I got to make a movie around it.
Okay.
The ear and a field, a severed ear and a field. He was like, that's a fun jumping off point. Okay. I'll figure something out there. And the other thing, if I remember correctly, here, hold on. Let me make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm going to find something that backs me up here.
Song,
let's see.
Ear?
Yeah, the first idea was only a feeling and the title. He was like, I want to make a movie called Blue Velvet. He's like, that's kind of where it came from. He said he wanted it to be from an ear. It needed to be an opening of the part of a body, a hole into something else. The ear sits on the head. It goes right into the mind. It felt perfect. That's what he said in a New York Times interview.
Wow.
The third idea was Bobby Vinton's rendition of Blue Velvet and the mood that came with that song, a mood, a time, and things that were of that time. And then, of course, the scene where Dorothy appears naked outside his house.
Yes. Okay. Wow. That's,
and then he's just like, let's figure out how to connect these dots.
Got it. We got enough to go on here, guys.
Yeah.
We have a song, an ear, and the title. All right, fucking let's rock.
The production, let's rock. The production designer must have just had a fucking field day with this. The aesthetics are brilliant. I love the interiors of everything. I love the locations. The location scouting is fucking magnificent. I love the sidewalks and the cityscapes and, and I say cityscapes, I mean the town, really. I really adore everything that this movie brings to the table, and some of the props management is really, really awesome. One of the stories I heard is that, in dream sequence where Ben sings, David Lynch tasked a guy, and I one of the things I watched, a little 15-minute behind the scenes clip, which was, years after the fact, and it was a bunch of people who regard Blue Velvet as where their career really started, and in a bunch of different fields. One of them was a props manager, one of them was the guy who played the Yellow Man, one of them was the casting director, and and just like people like that. And the props manager talked about how he made the ear, and stuff. And he talked about like why that was awesome. And he's like, as far as I can tell, we were the first people to use silicone in visual effects work. Like I could find nothing.
Whoa. Wow.
Which is a wild fact, or a wild idea, not certainly a fact. This guy just said he's pretty sure, so I don't want to run with that.
That'd be nuts.
But,
'cause I feel
that
like
would be nuts, right? But,
that's everywhere. No, like that's just
right. That's how you
like
do effects
industry
now.
standard. Yeah, or like I don't know. I don't know what they use for ears. If you need like a
but
fucking
he
ear
presented the ear to Lynch, and he goes, "This is perfect. Now let's use an adult ear. Like let's make it bigger." And the guy was like, "This is a mold of my ear. Like this is literally this is my ear."
Give me
an
adult ear.
He goes, "Well, then you've got the tiniest ears I've ever seen." And he goes, and they went and they got a producer, Fred Caruso's ear. And then they showed him in a different behind the scenes clip in a different documentary. I was like, I see why they used that fella's ears. He's got some bigger ears on him. But, so like he talked, and it was just so cool to watch these people talk with such passion about these little things they contributed to the movie. Like he was so excited to talk about the ear that he made. Cause it is iconic. Like that is like, as far as Lynch's filmography is concerned, that's a huge deal for the props department. And the hair that's on it is actually David Lynch's. Like he got his hair cut on set one day and they brushed it and then they stuck it to the fake ear.
Dang, that's awesome.
So like, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that. Like one of the camera operators was one of the people that they interviewed behind the scenes. And like he was a steady cam guy. Like he carried the camera instead of it being on a track or anything. And it was the stair shots whenever Kyle MacLachlan's climbing the stairs up to her apartment with the bug spray. And then when he's leaving. And he described so impassionedly how he carried the camera up the stairs and how he had to hug the rail really tight because, and this is I would say at least 10 years after the fact that they're doing this documentary. And like, he's like, and that's really where it all started. Then I went to work with him on Wild at Heart and Fire Walk with Me and, in Twin Peaks and and I'm so grateful that I got to carry this camera up these couple flights of stairs a couple times. And like, it's just,
that's so cool.
I love whenever I see things like that, it reminds you that everybody working on the film cares about it or like that they have the capacity to.
They have their own little passion for it too. Like,
yes,
an actor wouldn't really appreciate the camera, all the little things that he said, or whatever. But for him, that's like, he was in that moment. That was like, his,
like whenever he watches the movie, he's like, that's me. Like, I'm doing that.
Like, yeah. And that's just giving me even goosebumps thinking about that of like, just the greater, I don't know. And like a thing of like,
he's like David Lynch and Fred Elms were like standing over my shoulder, watching my monitor, making sure I was getting like capturing exactly what they wanted to see.
That's actually
and, like,
sick. Yes.
Like, and the way he just like on those stairs, there was no like, there was no way to be safe about it really. Cause it's like, it's 5
like
flights up. He's like, he's like, if David Lynch or Fred Elms falls, we're all going down, it's going to get bad fast. I just love the way he described how fulfilling it was to like, he was like, I had to hug the rail real tight because he had to take this wide turn and I had to, and Fred Elms talks about how shooting with widescreen is so fulfilling. Like it's his favorite aspect ratio to shoot because it's so broad. It shoots people in cars perfectly and people in beds perfectly. And, like you just get so much frame that way. And I love whenever people talk about movies like that and are just like the literal making of it, just kind of like, oh, I love painting this picture for you. It was awesome. And one of my favorite interviews was the Yellow Man. He'd never really been in a movie. And a lot of his stuff was altered a little bit. Like, the scene now is him walking in and just kind of seeing, Kyle MacLachlan at the beginning versus it was supposed to be him like making a move on her and then, Frank would show up and would shoot him on the side of the head and paralyze him, which is what you're seeing at the end of the movie.
Wow. Okay. So a little missing pieces-esque.
A little bit.
Clear up the context or, cause I thought, maybe that scene was to leave it ambiguous to show that like any one of the people could have killed those guys. Like it's like but I guess the husband changes things. At first I thought that the dead husband that was sitting in the chair was one of Frank's like right hand, was one of his like other guys,
his goons.
The weirdish. Oh my god, it was like his right hand man, the one that he always told Raymond, or whatever. Yeah, like
right,
Raymond
right.
Watch over her or whatever. I thought it was Raymond in the chair at first.
I'm Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jack Nance, man. So at first I was like, okay. Like, it makes sense if Dorothy killed them because, like, yeah, that was part of their crew, whatever, and shoved the blue, velvet in his mouth, and it was like a crime of it kind of made sense. But then also Jeffrey could have killed them, to get back at, for like revenge. But then Frank, now that it's the husband, makes the most sense. But the yellow man I thought was still a little up in the air since he was literally frozen, already kind of dead anyways, and like Lynchian. I feel like for that scene is one of like it just has that air to it for sure. Like you're like, what the fuck? What am I?
Yeah,
walking
his arm
into?
flailing when he hears the radio and hitting the lamp and stuff. Like, and that was another part that I fucking loved. He was talking about in the scene. He's like, first take, and it's just so fun to like. He almost got teary eyed by the end of the little interview, talking about how much it was one of the best parts of his life was being able to be a part of the movie and stuff. And like the Yellow Man, like that's cool.
Yeah.
That like that's something he can go like. Fucking loved this. This is one of the highlights of my life and career. That's so fucking cool. He talked about how like the first take he like knocked the lamp like halfway across the room and David Lynch was like, "Whoa, rein it in, buddy." Like I just need you to knock it over a little bit. And like yeah, so it's just little stuff like that always makes me so happy when it comes to the movies. But one thing we haven't really touched on that I really want to highlight because she is unbelievably talented. She's an Oscar winner now, and she's gone on to be in everything under the sun and has been so fucking good. Laura Dern did this at 18.
That is insane. That is
like
that's nuts.
There are she's Hollywood royalty a little bit. Her mom was a very, very well renowned actress. She's a nepo baby as well, but She is an unbelievable actress. Like she is so fucking good. And to see her in this, she's also in Wild at Heart. She's also in Inland Empire. She's, probably, if not for Kyle MacLachlan, and probably even including Kyle MacLachlan, my favorite David Lynch collaborator as far as performer on screen. I think that she does unbelievable work with David Lynch, and Inland Empire is really what just separates her from the pack as far as David Lynch just going, I'm going to make a movie entirely around you, just being an insane, brilliant actress, versus Kyle MacLachlan almost always kind of being a self-insert. Kind of... Because he kind of looks like David Lynch, and David Lynch has always kind of viewed him as kind of his on-screen counterpart. Like whenever he depicts a character as depicts a character and Kyle MacLachlan's in the role, it's kind of who he sees himself as typically. That's not always the case, but that is there's definitely something there, specifically in this movie. I
don't know, in the OG Laura Palmer, is I feel like that. I wonder if that is like if he had the name for Laura, before, or like if
maybe
if
Laura Dern did inspire it a little bit. That would be very cool. I think that
I don't know, the first. It feels like a prequel to Peaks, and this is the testing grounds a little bit. This is how Coop became Coop.
Yes. Jeffrey Beaumont decided I'm gonna join the FBI.
Because the state, it was already corrupt. The Yellow Man he was a detective, so he knew he needed to go a step above to really take it all down. And then oh my it could. I'm just seeing the actual connected universe of like this being the fucking prequel, but I need to chill.
This is actually Jeff. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. Not in any tangible capacity. You can go headcanon crazy all you want. But there is never anything that connects Like, it'd be hilarious if one day there's like an alternate identity for Coop in The Return that's like Jeffrey Beaumont, and you're like,
he goes into the waiting room, and then it's because the red drapes. I guess if there is one connection, if you go behind those red drapes, you are in the waiting
what's
room.
Back there?
And the blue
what's
light
going on there.
Fucking. Where's the Black Lodge entrance? I need to know.
I need to know where are the sycamores. Now, if Lincoln Street had been named Sycamore Street, we'd have had some shit to go on.
That's true.
But
and big music, eerie. Whenever that came on screen, it was like. And I was
because at the beginning, his aunt goes, "Make sure you're not going down the Lincoln, honey."
Oh, really? It was just off one. Because I'm like, did I miss something? I'm like, oh my god.
You did.
Like,
that's it. That's it. Like, wow. He was like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and they were like, well, make sure it's not down on Lincoln Street.
Okay, wow. It's just.
And then they show him walk away from Lincoln Street, and it's like, he's about to step into a brand new world, kind of. Which
he did.
I always talk about David Lynch's love for Wizard of Oz. Dorothy is literally a character in this movie. She is wearing red shoes when we meet her, red heels.
And that's cool.
Yeah. She is his introduction to the underbelly, kind of this other world that he didn't realize was there. He's seeing something he never knew was there. I think he literally says that at some point in the movie. I'm finally in. I've seen something I wasn't supposed to. And it's kind of his Oz. And, I think it's, again, just, the connective tissue there. Laura Dern emerges from the darkness wearing pink and is blonde, and she's a little, she might as well have floated down in a bubble, Doug. She might as well be Glinda. There's a lot of very, Wizard of Oz-esque imagery, and I mean, definitely not as most Wizard of Oz-ass movie. That's Wild at Heart, but there's a lot of literal Glinda is actually in Wild at Heart. The Good Witch is actually in Wild at Heart. She literally floats down in a bubble. That's actually something that happens in that, and it's played by Cheryl Lee, which is absolutely incredible.
Hey, sick. That's
but
okay, yeah,
no, yeah, and that's. I mean, I'm about to dive headlong into Lynch's filmography again. It's earlier this year when he passed, I watched Blue Velvet again. I watched Eraserhead like 3 fucking times. I feel like I watched that a lot. I remember. I think I revisited Mulholland Drive in the wake of it, but I didn't get back around to. Lost Highway is the Inland Empire. I only watched once because it's 3 hours and it's as dense and confusing as anything else he's ever made. Probably even more so. Probably the most off the wall batshit thing he's ever made is Inland Empire, but it's 3 hours of it. So it's just extremely taxing. But it is, I regard it as my favorite, I think, Lynch movie. I've only watched Lost Highway once because I think Lost Highway is genuinely his scariest movie. At least it is for me. I desperately want to revisit it. I mean, you've just got so much to look forward to when it comes to diving into Lynch's filmography. Wild at Heart is one of my favorite romances ever. Love Sailor and Lula. He's just got so much breadth of palette, even though he does. It's Lynchian at it's all Lynch, and you can tell, but there's such a variety in his filmography that I just adore it, man. But
the man, it's great. Yeah, he's crazy. He's already up on this pedestal for me. The show helped quite a lot. I've been spending quite a long time with him.
I mean, even in the context of the show, you've only watched 6 episodes directed by David Lynch. Yes.
I guess it's just got the writing juice from him there. But yeah, actually, only 2 movies and 6 episodes. That's crazy.
Through the first 2 seasons.
Next up. We're
The Return. You'll get 18 hours of Lynch directed stuff. So once you've done that,
that's
it's
what I'm talking about.
Okay, no doubt. no doubt. And that did end up being the last thing he worked on in 2017. So,
it's what he had to get out. You know.
I mean, like I would have loved. Obviously, I would have loved to have gotten more from David Lynch. But if there's going to be a perfect swan song for him, The Return functions perfectly as such. But I don't really have much else to say about Blue Velvet. Do you got anything else you want to touch on?
Just that the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award did not give it anything, which is really sad. And it's
unsurprising though.
Phoenician Scheme a little too
This
early
actually
to tell,
did get nominated for Best Director. At the Oscars.
Wow. I wonder what 1987.
It would have been a 1986 film.
Yes. Okay.
So
Oscar.
I don't know what it would have been.
Win was William Oliver Stone with Platoon. Is this?
Oh, Platoon.
Platoon. I guess I haven't heard of Platoon. But yeah.
No.
Okay.
Tracks.
Interesting. Johnny Depp, Charlie Sheen, Willem Dafoe. Okay, Forrest Whitaker. Okay, you know what? I judged it a little too hard because it was just not Lynch.
No, yeah, I mean Platoon. Okay. I've heard great things. I've never seen it, but and Oliver Stone generally makes some pretty good movies.
Yeah,
and I guess Sunday, JFK. He's got some goodies.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. My dad loves JFK. Loves a good old, Kevin Costner. He loves a good old
Kevin Costner's good. JFK, you would like JFK a lot. You should watch JFK.
That is my boy. My Addison's boy.
It is. And it also, it is made by someone who clearly believes in every conspiracy theory concerning the JFK assassination.
Yes.
You know, it's So, regardless of whether or not you believe in the conspiracy theories, if you're interested by them, that is a movie you gotta watch. I'm you'll dig JFK. He's this is not the last time that he was recognized by the Academy, but he wouldn't be recognized by the Academy for another 15 years, if I remember correctly. I think Mulholland Drive is the next time he gets any love from the Academy, if I remember correctly. That's just off the top of my head.
Elephant Man before this, and then you're right.
I'm pretty sure he won Best Director. Did he win Best Director for Elephant Man?
It says nominee. He got nominated for director and best writing and screenplay based on material from another medium. But he 2020 an honorary award. I don't know what for. I guess I don't know. It doesn't say exactly what for, but yeah, the only, I guess, no actual win, which is, man, that's kind of sad.
Damn shame. But nominated for 4 of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nominated for 4 of them. 3 Best Director nods. And Mulholland Drive lost it in 2001. That's surprising. That would have been the one I thought would have won.
That is very sad.
But it is what it is. These things happen. But with that, I think I will do. I'll do. Beautiful Mind. Are you fucking kidding me? Ron Howard won it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. That's what beat it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah. That's not good. Ron fucking Howard. I like Ron Howard. Okay, I love Willow. I love Solo. I'm even partial to the How the Grinch Stole Christmas adaptation with Jim Carrey. I even like A Beautiful Mind, but I don't like any of those movies because of strength of direction. You know what I'm saying? That's oh my god, that's horseshit.
Oh, I guess this was Best Picture, not Best Director. My bad.
I think you're right, though. I think Ron Howard won that anyway.
But Best, I guess, Director, that would be quite different, I guess. And that is... it still was Ron Howard.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's Ron Howard because I remember...
Wow. Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring at the same time.
So Ron Howard shouldn't have even come close. Shouldn't have even come close that year. Okay, but no, I mean, you'll watch Mulholland Drive. You'll see why.
Yes.
It's a good fucking movie, but...
Here we are.
And who knows, maybe I'll pick it for next week. Now, I won't, but I'm not going to turn Cinema Surprise into the David Lynch project. I would, as much as I would like to.
Yes.
We, I try my best to create a certain variety when it comes to Cinema Surprise, and I don't want to get bogged down with any one actor, any one director, or anything like that. We're even doing multiple decades, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. But regardless, I'm gonna do some plugs. We'll rate Blue Velvet, and then I will announce what we are covering next week on Cinema Surprise. So if you would leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. That is a huge help. I would really appreciate a 5-star rating and a review. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing right. Don't tell me anything wrong. I'm fine with the way we're doing things. You can subscribe on YouTube. That would also be nice. The YouTube has actually been doing very, very well. Last month ended up being the best month for it by like a lot. The subscriber count shot up because of Alien coverage. So hopefully people are still digging what we're doing there. Nice. And it's been a lot of fun, so you go ahead and check that out. We are also doing Fire Pod with Me, a Twin Peaks podcast. We are careening towards the end of season 2, and we are nearing Fire Walk with Me. So if you like Lynch, which you probably do if you're here, and you have watched Twin Peaks, which you probably have if you like Lynch, you got to watch Fire Walk with Me, and you got to listen to us talk about it here in a couple weeks. And then the week after that, we're going to be doing the missing pieces. So Twin Peaks, Fire Pod with Me, got a lot to look forward to there, because we're also going to be doing all 18 parts of The Return. Lots of Twin Peaks, and we've got so much more to go, even though it feels like we're nearing the end, which is wild. Got to check that out. Regardless of if you've seen Twin Peaks or not, you should. You should absolutely watch Twin Peaks, and you have to listen to our podcast. There's no doubt about it. But regardless of if you even listen to the podcast, you should watch Twin Peaks. I genuinely just an incredible show. We also have Geek with Me, a nerd shit podcast, which consists of right now nothing but Alien Earth and Peacemaker Season 2. And I believe that earlier this week we covered Peacemaker Season 2 episodes 1 and 2, and next week we'll be covering Alien Earth episodes 5 and 6. So we're going bi-weekly right now. It's Alien Earth one week, Peacemaker the next, Alien Earth the next, Peacemaker after that, and so on and so forth until they're both done. After that, we'll figure out what we're doing next. We actually haven't nailed that down. But Geek with Me, lots of fun, lots of nerd shit. It's a great time. So go ahead and check those out, and come back next week for some more Cinema Surprise. Stick around to hear what next week will be. So what are we rating Blue Velvet on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, it's crazy. Off of Wes. I wouldn't think. I thought the West would have the highest rating out of any movie here, but I'm comfortably in the 9s for me. If not just I don't know. It's unlike any movie I've watched. It's like a more, even though it is a little, I could see the naive take or whatever, but no, compared to what I've seen, like The Missing Pieces and this was just a lot better of a movie experience, like even The Missing Pieces has the peaks and all the juice and everything that I want. And Fire Walk with Me is what I'm trying to say, not Missing Pieces. But it's I think this is I had just a lot of other excitement that went into Fire Walk with Me. Versus this is just a standalone movie by itself. And I feel like that was really nice to see. Lynch just kind of in, I don't know, just in one movie
in his own world. Yeah.
Yes. So it was I'm falling in love with Lynch. I gave it the 5 on Letterboxd. So I mean I'm riding high. But a perfect movie, I don't know. Like no, I don't know about that. Like it is weird. I do have this hesitation to not quite call it the 10. But I think if not, I mean, I'm at 9.5 or 9.75 for me. I'm loving Lynch right now. So I think,
all right,
yeah, there is the hesitation. So I think I'll go with as high as I can go though. At 7.5. I
think you'll give it the 9.75. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm a 10. There's no question for me. I absolutely adore it, and it wasn't the first time I watched it. It wasn't a 10 the first time I watched it. I watched this before I ever watched Twin Peaks. I think it was the first David Lynch thing I ever watched. And I found it kind of impenetrable. I could recognize it was well made, and I could, I really appreciated, performances and stuff, but I was like, there's something about it that's just not clicking with me. So Twin Peaks is actually kind of a perfect Lynch light, like it's kind of, it eases you into his sensibilities and it makes you realize what his stories are. And then when I revisited this, I was like, oh, wait, this is one of my favorite movies ever made. And kind of, the way Lynch expanded my tastes, he's had a very, very massive impact on what I enjoy and what I view as good generally. And, I never view anything as invalid art-wise. I'm never going to dismiss something outright, just because I don't like the idea of it or something, and I think that, with the weird shit that David Lynch was bouncing off the wall, I'm gonna keep an open mind to anything, basically. And Blue Velvet ends up being one of his less hard to understand movies, which is
awesome. That is
wild.
Good.
Yeah, that's good. Wild.
No, I'm a big fan of that.
Because it's still a bizarre movie. I won't call it normal, but
true.
Yeah, definitely one of his least impenetrable. There are far more difficult movies to understand later. The trilogy, I call it a trilogy. And it kind of is. Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire. Dude. Okay. No idea. I love those movies, and I've watched them probably a combined 5 times. No idea what's going on. And I have an idea, but I mean, like, it's just my idea,
That's good. Yeah, it's up for interpretation. Each time you view it, it could change. That's all. It
absolutely can. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of Lynch's work. So yeah, definitely. Man. If this is the start of you diving in a little bit,
yes.
I invite it. Go for a dive headlong into that good night.
Yes,
it'll be beautiful. You have a lot to look forward to. But with that, a 10 and a 9.75 is a 99% on the Cinementalometer, and it says deserving a film as any to get the 99% on the Cinementalometer. So I love seeing that. Love hearing that. But it's time.
Yes.
For next week's film.
Are we going?
We're going the oldest one we would have done yet. So it's pre-70s. Right now we've knocked out the 70s, 80s, and the 20s. And for those who don't know, once we've covered a movie from any given decade, we are no longer allowed to pick a movie within the same decade. So 70s off the table with Close Encounters, 80s off the table with Blue Velvet, and 20s was off the table last week with The Phoenician Scheme. So, I'm throwing it back. And shockingly, for it being as old a film as it is, we recently last night, me and you were talking off mic about our favorite directors of all time. And you noted that you wanted to familiarize yourself with more women directors.
Yes.
You felt like you'd been selling several short, and not several short. There's just, you don't feel like there's as much opportunity to find a lot of movies directed by one woman. So I am going to grant you one of my favorites, here. I'm going with 1962's Cleo from 5 to 7, directed by Agnes Varda. That's Cleo from 5 to 7. CLEO from 5 to 7.
Here it is.
I absolutely love this movie. I watched it earlier this year for the first time, and I remember sending you screenshots from it, being like, "Holy shit, this movie's beautiful." It was the one that I actually told you, I was like, I think this had a substantial impact on Wes's visual sensibility. I absolutely love it, and because of that conversation, it wasn't even on my radar until we had that conversation last night, and I adore this movie. 100% a good, we're looking at another really, really good one next week, and it's only 90 minutes. It's a tight 90. It's a real time one that happens too. Like it's 90 minutes taking place over the course of 90 minutes. It's a really interesting, awesome, beautiful looking movie. So, Cleo from 5 to 7 will be next week's film on Cinema Surprise. We're heading to the 60s, baby, so I look forward to that. Yes, yes,
black
indeed.
And white
Agnes, black and white, Agnes Varda. It's French also. It's not in English, so there's got that added layer as well, crossing off a woman-directed foreign film from the 60s. Let's go. Come on.
That is nice. I don't know why that makes me want to watch Le Bête afterwards.
Le Bête. Le Bête.
Yeah, I have no idea how to actually speak. Is it Le Bête? Is that
I have
not
no idea.
I went more Spanish
know.
with it.
Yeah, I feel like Le Bête ends up making it Spanish. I feel like Le Bête.
Yes, I definitely.
I don't even enunciate
Spanish.
the T.
Le Bête.
Le Bête.
Yes.
The Beast. For those who don't know from last year.
But
the Lea Seydoux film. But yeah, Cleo from 5 to 7. Very, very beautiful film. That is what we'll be covering next week, and I cannot wait. But with that, I was Colton Robertson, and I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, homie.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. God, it'd be lovely if IMDb worked a little bit better right now, because I wanna read the Laura Dern monologue for the sign off about her dream, because that's
much better than
that's a
Frank's
great moment.
Fucker.
Yeah,
lines, I think.
I'll fuck anything that moves. No, but remember, I had a dream. In fact, it was the night I met you. In the dream, there was our world. And the world was dark because there weren't any robins, and the robins represented love. And for the longest time, there was just this darkness. And all of a sudden, thousands of robins were set free, and they flew down and brought this blinding light of love. And it seemed like that love would be the only thing that would make any difference. And it did. So I guess it means there's trouble till the robins come.